A very warm welcome to everyone, especially shareholders who've made the effort to come here today. My name is Jonathan Trollip, and I'm Chairman of Plato Income Maximiser Limited. I'd like to introduce my fellow board members from left to right: Lorraine Behrens, Katrina Onishi, Alex Eilenfeld, and Don Hanson. And at the end, we have Calvin Kwok, who's our company secretary. I also welcome our auditor, Scott Wadet, who's in the front row here. He stands up, he's easy to see, he's pretty tall. And he's available to answer any questions if you have them on the 2019 financial statements. I'm advised that there are no apologies recorded for the meeting. Are there any shareholders who wish to have an apology recorded on behalf of someone else? Okay, thank you very much. The agenda for today's meeting is that first you'll have the chairman's address. There is no need to take detailed notes of this as it was released on the ASX website earlier today, and that'll then be followed by the formal business, which is the resolutions which need to be considered by shareholders, and finally the investment update, which will follow the Antipodes annual general meeting. So moving to the chairman's address, as you probably know, the Plato was established to provide shareholders with the opportunity to benefit from an actively managed, well-diversified portfolio of Australian equities and a monthly dividend once it had sufficient profit reserves. It's the first LIC on the Australian market to pay a monthly dividend, and it listed in May 2017. It now has approximately 466 million of assets after a recent capital raising, which was done in August this year, and that makes it one of the larger LICs on the ASX. Again, stating the obvious, as you probably know, the investment portfolio is managed by Plato Investment Management Limited, led by Don, and you'll have a good chance to hear from him later in the investor presentations. The objective of the company is to generate returns which are in excess of the benchmark, which is the S&P ASX 200 franking credit adjusted daily return index, tax exempt, and then outperform that index after fees in total terms, including franking credits. The company details, I've been through, the board members are here, and the company currently has 428 million shares and a share price of $17.5 as at 25 October 2019. So that capitalizes it at 503.4 million. Interestingly, it's one of the very few LICs which is currently trading at a premium to its NTA. So I'm pleased I'm not going to get any shareholder questions on that one. So the monthly dividends, which is very important for all shareholders, are set out in the chart that you see on the screen. And it's important to note the steady flow and that the balance of franking credits available to the company for payments of dividend is not reflected in its NTA value. But again, Don can go through that in more detail. As you are aware, we did pay, in addition to the half-cent dividend every month last financial year, a special dividend of 3 cents. And that was in anticipation of a change in the franking credit regime, had there been a change of government, but as there wasn't, it arguably was not needed, but we're pleased that shareholders did receive those funds. And we're pleased to confirm that provided the company has sufficient profits going forward, and obviously the usual legal caveat permitted by law and within prudent business practice so to do, that we intend to continue with the payment of monthly dividends. In terms of the company performance, as shown on the slide, the NTA performance was 7.1% annualized from the listing date, which is May 2017, to 30 September 2019. And the dividends have been paid by the company at just under 15 cents, 14.7 cents. The TSR performance, that measures the share price performance of the company and the dividends that have been paid from a shareholder perspective, is 7.5% annualized from the listing date. And that's at the then share price when we calculated this of $1.14 and that compares to an issue price of $1.10, and as I mentioned, dividends paid of 14.7 cents. As shareholders will be aware, we had two capital issues this year, so to speak, two capital initiatives. The options which were issued to shareholders on listing on the IPO, and they expired on 29 April 2019. Unfortunately, at that time, the share price was not where it is now, so there were very few options exercised. But we then had an entitlement offer in August 2019, and that enabled every shareholder to get one new share for every 1.6 shares they held at an offer price of $1.10. And the offer closed on 30 August 2019 and raised $144 million. It was a very good outcome considering that the markets at that time were particularly volatile. We are very keen on enhancing shareholder engagement, and this is one of the events at which we're doing it, but we have regular shareholder email updates, weekly NTA announcements, and monthly updates. Obviously, in accordance with statutory requirements, we have our half-yearly and financial year reports, we have our website, we have media, and we have conference presentations. And for anybody who follows the financial press very closely, Don is front and center on a lot of these issues, particularly in relation to franking credits and a product which develops a regular dividend stream for shareholders.